Life speaks. It speaks through struggles and success, through music and messages, the preconceived and the unexpected. Whether you are in the depths of the valley or in the midst of your mountaintop experience, everyone needs to be encouraged from time to time. Here we will share stories of strength, testimonies of triumph, verses of victory, observations, and information meant to touch the heart and uplift the soul, to keep you on your path of purpose and navigate this thing called life with power and authority. This is Andrea Hines, and I'm your host for When Life Speaks, here on ALH Broadcasting, an affiliate of the Streaming Inspirational Broadcast Network. I am glad you accepted the invitation to join us tonight. There's something in this broadcast just for you, and if it is going to be a blessing to your life, it will be to someone else as well. So share, tag, start a watch party, and invite someone you know to join us. Then turn down the volume of life and get ready to receive, so that when life speaks, you will speak life. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to When Life Speaks. So glad that people are going to be coming on and listening to us this evening. Hey there, Ida Batts. Good to have you. Good to have you. Always good to have you in the morning and in the evening. Thank you for joining us. And Linda Cooks, thank you for joining us as well. Trelyn Usry, great writer, wonderful woman of God. Good to have you on this evening as well. Well, I tell you what, I always start with a little housekeeping and just telling you a little bit about what's going on with When Life Speaks. We have a power-packed September lineup. So I tell you right now, you want to be having us on your calendar. You want to make sure that you put some things down, get your alarms ready, whatever it is that you have to do, so that you know to be right here on Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. So let me tell you what we got going on. Lynn is going to be with us, my co-host, and she's going to help us open the month and close the month. She'll be with me on the first Thursday in September and also the last Thursday in September. Now, on September the 9th, a faithful member of our village is going to be on with me, and that is Miss Francina Booker. And we're going to do something called Senior Sidebar, and it's going to become a pretty frequent segment on our program. You know, we have Keep Faith Flowing with the Village to uplift and encourage. We always have our stories of strength and our testimonies of triumph. We have those who labor among us. And now we're going to be talking about Senior Sidebar. Now, let me help you understand. Senior Sidebar is not just for seniors, but it is about seniors. And whatever age you are, you feel free to join us, because if you continue to be blessed, you will be a senior at some point in time. And this information is going to be helpful for you as you go on your life's journey. So I want you to join us. It will be the first segment like this, and we'll kind of see how it goes from there. On the 16th of September, we do have an amazing testimony of triumph with a young man named Reginald Pelt. and he's gaining victory over a rare blood disease. We kind of talked about it a little bit in one segment. Most of the time, when you think of blood cancer, you only think of leukemia, but there are some other diseases out there, and he's going to tell us what he has been dealing with and give us some information that we need to know. So that's going to be on the 16th. Now, on September 23rd, guess who's coming back? Pastor Steve Sims is coming back. He's our leadership guru, and he's going to be talking about the molding of men, the molding of men. So you don't want to miss that either. And then, like I said, on September the 30th, Lynn's going to be back with us, and we're going to be talking to the village and see what we got going on. So I want you to put us down in the month of September. You don't want to miss anything, and we certainly don't want to miss you. Trelyn says, senior side by my favorite people. I know, and I understand why. So I hope you will join us on some of those segments that we have, and particularly the first one to encourage Francina, because she's going to be putting some good things together for us. But for tonight, I have a wonderful guest on with me. We were talking the other day about the show, and we said, you know, what topics are we going to talk about? And we ended up talking about delays, and we talked about dreams, and we talked about life after divorce, and we talked about destiny, and we just talked about a whole lot of things. And sometimes when you come on and I have someone on like my guest, then you know it's a free-flowing conversation, and we want you to join in too. If you have any comments that you want to make, just be sure and put them in the comments section, and we will try to acknowledge them as we go along. Now, my guest is a mother. She's a grandmother. She's a woman of God. She is a prayer warrior. Did I tell you she was a prayer warrior? She is a prayer warrior. She is also an author of 2 books. One of them is The Shepherd, the Sheep, and the Sheepdog. And the other one is Emerging into Your Whole and Beautiful Self. You can find her on ALH Broadcasting on Friday evenings at 7 p.m. She brings us those Selah moments, and she invites in her whole and beautiful nation. I say, how you come on the air and have a whole nation? But she does have a whole and beautiful nation. Those Selah moments help us to navigate this journey that we call life. And tonight we're going to get to know her a little bit better. And she's going to tell us about some things that she's got going on. She is the host, in fact, of Whole and Beautiful. And I want you to help me welcome my guest for tonight, Angela Oliphant. Come on in, Angie. There you
Hello.
are. Good evening to you, lady. How are
Good
you tonight?
evening.
Doing good?
I am, yes, doing well.
Good. I am so happy. I'm so happy to have you on. And it's a funny thing because whenever I think of us getting together and talking about anything, I always feel like we're just inviting people into the living room, truly into the living room, and just having a conversation. Because when we start talking, man, I tell you, we can go from one topic to another, from one segment to another. But I want to start, since you are have been host of a internet radio program, you're always interviewing people. But I want people to have the opportunity to get to know Angie. So tell us a
Okay.
little bit about you, your personal bio and things, and then we're just going to go from there, and we're going to dive right in tonight.
Okay. Well, my name is Angela Denise Oliphant. I recently turned 51. I might
Woo-hoo.
be a part of that senior sidebar thing. But I have 3 children, 2 sons, a daughter. I have 5 grands, and I am also recently divorced too. So it's been about 4 years now. So, but I work for a credit union, and I've been there now going on 14 years that I've been there. So, and it's been like like you were saying, you said prayer warrior, and I was looking at it and I was like, well, I can accept that now, because usually I kind of run from it because I
Hmm.
pray and I do seek the Lord about a lot of different things, and everywhere I go I end up praying. So they always end up putting me right there. He's like, will you pray? And I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, God, that's something that you placed in my heart, and that's some of the things. That's one of the things that I love to do is to pray.
Hmm.
Um, with me, I think that I'm like just a real simple person. I don't talk a lot until I get to know people. When I get to know them, then I jump in and I talk, and then they're surprised that I talk that much. But in the beginning, I just kind of observe and watch, and
Hmm.
then I'll jump in there and start talking to people. So a lot of different things have been going on. Right now, I'm trying to get myself in a place where I'm finding out really like who I am
Hmm.
and getting to like me, because you put so many titles on yourself as being the mom, the grandmama,
Right.
the wife, and whoever else. And then I'm like, okay, you're Angela. So what does Angela like? So that's been I'm finding out some things about myself now, but that's me like in a nutshell of who I am and what I do.
There's nothing more important, I think, sometimes than the journey of self discovery. And
Yes.
all of us go through that at some point in time, if we're blessed and if we listen, because it's not always an easy thing to do, not always an easy thing to want to be able to be honest with yourself and peel
Right.
peel back the layers, or however you want to put that. Sometimes there's just some stuff there we don't want to deal with, and we don't
That is true.
to expose or allow other people to be exposed to. Good evening, Francine. I'm glad to have you on the line tonight. So we first met, I think, well, I knew your sister, but I had started I don't want to call it an organization, a forum for people who wanted to be in business or had a dream that they wanted to accomplish. And we called it the Hope Enterprise Project. And
Yes.
was helping outstanding people excel. That's what Hope stood for. And we started it because I believe that we're not void of talent. I think there's a lot of talent out there. I think there are a lot of things that people are able to do and want to do, but
Yes.
we lack the accountability, sometimes the discipline, and those things to make that dream a reality. And you had a dream then, and it was to have a magazine.
Yes.
And I bring that up because the name of the magazine was Whole and Beautiful. The name of
Yes.
the internet radio show was Whole and Beautiful. So tell us about Whole and Beautiful. Why that was something that stuck with you, why that was something that you were pushing forward with.
I got that one day like after prayer. And it was been a while ago because my kids were still, well, two of them were still in school. One had graduated and the other two were still in school. And I heard the name Whole and Beautiful, and I was like, what am I going to use this for? I didn't know where it was going or what it was going to be, but I just wrote it down and I kept it with me. And I love magazines. I go buy magazines all the time. I have to stop myself from buying magazines because I love to hold a book and go through it and look. And I got the idea of doing a magazine. I was like, oh, I can call it Whole and Beautiful. And I wanted to talk about people's journeys to let them know that on their journey, they can be whole and they can be beautiful. It can be a beautiful journey without them coming to the end to their destination. It's
Mhm.
like sometimes we wait until we get to this point and then we say, oh, this is good. But we can have a whole and beautiful journey.
Mhm.
And that's what I wanted people to know. It's like you can be healed in the process of doing the things that you want to do.
Mhm.
You can continue to move forward even throughout the process, and it can be a beautiful journey even though certain things happen that may be tragic, that may be not so good to us, but it can turn out to be something beautiful. So I wanted to talk to different people and get their stories and put stories in the magazine about them and their journey, and even put in stuff about fitness and how you can be whole in your fitness and how you can be whole in different areas of your life. And that's what I did. I started putting that all in a magazine. And that I did maybe like I forgot. I think I did maybe like 4 issues, 3 or 4 issues of the magazine.
Mhm.
And then different things happen in life, and I just kind of put it to the side, and I was like, man, I really want to do this. And I was like, I want to put this together. And the opportunity, after some years, the opportunity came to do the radio show, and I was like, yes, I like to talk. So that's right up my alley. So I was like, okay, I can do what I was doing in the magazine, but now I can talk to people.
How long did that take from that transition between the magazine and the internet radio program? Because I believe you had shared with me some time ago that you actually had thought about and wanted to do radio or some kind of uh, host guest format and forum before I even approached you. So talk about the timing in there, because sometimes we think about things and if they don't happen within a certain time frame, we put them on the shelf, but we never go back. We never go back and dust them off. We never go back and see, okay, the journey was going that way, but the track has turned and there's still a way
Right.
for you to do this, but in a different form. Talk to us about that, Lynn. Angie.
um, I when I first started the magazine, it was like what 2000, maybe like 8 or 9, somewhere up in that time frame that I started doing the magazine, and then I put it down around probably like around 2011 or so, and
Mhm.
I stopped doing it. It was like like you were saying with accountability and stuff, I wasn't really like being accountable to myself with it. And then I kept coming up against all these different obstacles with the magazine, and trying to get it printed, and run it up against people who were more out to like clash with me than to help me. And I was like, okay, I just won't do it. And I put it to the side, but I will always go back and look at it. And I was like, you got to do something with this. Was not just an idea that was thrown out to you. This is something that you need to do. And it took me until when I was always thinking about it, but it wasn't until I started a program, started Whole and Beautiful, when you came to me with a radio show. That was like what, oh man, 2000
I think
was,
2019. Was it
yeah,
2019?
about 2019. And I wasn't, I was always thinking about it. And it's something that I always wanted to do was radio. And I thought about doing TV and radio, and I would sit and watch talk shows all the time. And because I was just so interested in how they would interview people and what they would do. And that has always been something that was there. Like I can remember back like 14, 15 years old, I wanted to do it. And I would sit and watch their mannerisms, and I was what questions they would come up with, and I was like, I would love to do that. And then when you approached me with the radio, I was like, yes, I get to do this now. And I didn't know how it was going to go in there. And the first thing was like, how? What about your accountability? How are you going to keep yourself going with this? And I can tell you that sometimes it's like I don't want to, because sometimes you get to those roadblocks and you don't know what the next thing is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I find so much joy in it. It's like, no, this is not something you're going to let go. This is not something you're going to give up on. you
Right.
waited all that time because it was like so much time in between, and now you got the opportunity. So jump in there and take it
Hmm.
and run with it. So it was like different things happen in different space and time. So at one point, I was like, I wouldn't even be looking at myself as doing this right now because of everything that had happened up to that point.
Hmm.
But now I was like, I just love it. And even when I feel like, man, sluggish, like I don't want to, once I get to recording and start recording, it's like this joy just comes up in me. And I'm like, yes, this is it. Every time I get ready to record, I'm like, yes, I'm on it. I could be dragging like 2 minutes before, but once that camera start rolling or once that audio start going, I'm there and I'm ready for it.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to break the silence on the secret now because Angie has is transitioning just like most of the programs on ALH Broadcasting, and we are moving from uh, radio only into radio and TV.
Yay!
Welcome to the other side, Angie. Welcome to so, so Friday, September the is it third?
Third.
September the
Mhm.
third will be her first radio, TV, internet radio, TV broadcast. So you won't just hear Angie anymore. You will hear her and you will see her every Friday
Yay!
night at 7 p.m. So we are excited for her and excited for what's going to happen in her new format with her new programs, with her new guests, and just congratulations to
Thank
you.
you.
I am so happy for you. I'm so happy for you, and it is something to we may want things sometimes, but moving out of your comfort zone to
Yeah.
get those things,
Yeah.
can be a little challenging. It can be a little scary. But there's something about being driven by passion and driven by destiny um, that keeps you going, that gives you that
Yes.
fire, that gives you that, that thing within you that says, okay, I'm getting ready to do this. And I'm not only going to do it, I'm going to love it while I am
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Something that you say about whole and beautiful all the time is not the destination. It's about the journey.
Yes.
It's about seeing new things, doing new things, being exposed to new things. And I know that your show is going to be extremely
Oh,
successful.
thank you.
And for those of you who are on the line tonight, I encourage you to come right back here to ALH Broadcasting on Friday evenings at 7 p.m. and see what Angie has going on with this whole and beautiful nation thing that she's got working. Because the first time she said that, I thought, did she say nation? Oh, girl got a whole nation. And listen, she has a nation. So,
It's like speak those things that are not as though they
so
were.
they were exactly. So as we were talking, Angie, there was something I was asking you. I didn't know whether you were comfortable um, about being a little bit transparent, but you said that you were, and I want to talk to you just a little bit about life after divorce. And I say that because um, divorce is a traumatic thing. It's a devastating thing, particularly after many years of marriage. And you all were married for, I want to say, was it close to 30 years?
Yes, it was close to 30. It was like by the time everything was done, it was 29. And that the first year that I was divorced, it came up on that time. It would have been the 30th anniversary, but we had been together over 30 years.
Yeah, yeah. And I know when uh we were talking and I thought clearly that's not the way you thought the journey was going to go. And some people just never recover. They're
Right.
never quite at a point of they're not at a point where they're past going through the motions of life. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? They
Right.
they don't really they don't really thrive. They don't really become passionate about things. But that was not your case, and I don't know. Just talk to us a little bit about what made you go on, because we talked about something that happened during that time. I mentioned to you guys that Angie is an author. She's authored two books now, and this has happened since the divorce.
Right.
One was called The Shepherd, the Sheep, and the Sheepdog, and the other is called, what's this? What's your second one?
And
Emerging.
emerge into your whole and beautiful life.
Yes, emerging into your whole and beautiful life. But you were right in the midst of trying to finish that first book, I think, when everything was going on with the divorce.
Yes. Um, I had I had come to a point where I was doing the editing part of it where it was being completed, and I had set up the times to do like the book signing and all of that, and that's when everything was taking place. And I looked at that and I was like, I can't do this. I can't. I was like, I don't want to do the book signing. I don't want to. I was like, okay, the book is finished. Just let it be finished, and I'm just gonna go on. And I had a friend of mine who said, no, you worked hard on this. You need to go ahead and do your book signing. And I was like, how am I going to do a book signing in the midst of all of this? It was like, how am I going to go in there? Who's going to come? Nobody's going to show up, And I was in this mindset of nobody's going to show up. And even if they're due, they're not coming for my book. They're coming to find out what happened. And
Mhm.
because I was at a ministry at the time where I was a leader there, I was like leading different teams. I was the leader, one of the leaders that was over the rest of the leaders, and I was having classes and teaching Bible study and all these different things and praying with other people about their marriages and watching their marriages flourish and go forward and people coming back together, and mine was falling apart. So it was like, I can't go out here with these people and talking about a book signing. And she was like, no, you put too much work in it. You worked hard for this, so you need to go follow through. And because of her, I went ahead and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And I prayed, and I had my daughter there. She was like, okay, we're gonna do your makeup, we're gonna make sure your hair done, we're gonna take these pictures. And my friend took the picture and she made me a big poster that was gonna be at the book sign. And she did that. And I had Liz doing my makeup and fixing me up. She snapped some photos and sent them to her. She did the poster, and I was like, oh, that's pretty. And they continued to push me. Then when I knew like you and Linda were coming to my book signing, and then I had other people calling and saying they were going to be there, and nobody was asking me about what's going on with your marriage or what's going on with the
Right.
divorce or whatever. And I was like, okay, I can stay focused. If I can keep focused, I can make it through this, and I can sign these books. And I had a friend of mine who I knew since fifth grade, and she came and she was there, and other people that I didn't even think were going to be there, they showed up and they supported me. But nobody asked me questions or took me down that road of what's going on with the divorce. And that, I think, kind of kept me stable at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But my focus, even when everything first happened, when my ex-husband had said that he was going to leave, at that point I said, even though like in the midst of tears and being hurt and everything, my first thing was, God, help me to forgive. Because
Mm.
I had watched so many people who have been through divorces and stuff, and they did not forgive. It's like
Yeah.
14, 15, 20 years later, and they still rehearsing that thing. And I was like, I don't want to be bitter. I don't want to be angry. Help me to deal with whatever I need to deal with so I can forgive quickly. Because that was
Mm-hmm.
something that I wanted to do, was forgive quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I did that. It took a lot. I was like up and down, and Miss A know, because sometimes I was at work and I would call her and thank you. Cause she listened to me, and then I was like, I probably was just out there, but I had to like bring myself down. Even at work, God put people there who, like with my supervisor, he had her. I talked to her, told her what was going on, and she said, if you ever need time just to go to your car, she said, I don't know what you do, whether you meditate or whether you. I said, I pray. That's what I do. And
Mm-hmm.
she said, well, you can go to your car, and she said you can walk around the building, but just let me know that you're leaving the building. And
Mm-hmm.
she was gonna cover for me. So at times where I would just feel like I was going to lose it, I would shoot her an email and say, hey, I'm going to my car, or hey, I'm going to walk outside, I'll be back. And she
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay. And I would leave, I would go to my car, I would pray, I would call Miss A sometimes, and then I would sit in my car sometimes and just listen to worship. And then I would get myself back together and I would go back in, because for like the first 2 days, 2 or 3 days after everything happened, I didn't go to work. I didn't call them. I didn't go. And they started sending people to find out where I was. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I just can't come to work. And she was like, what's going on? And I was able to tell her what was happening. But yeah, it was like staying, having people surround, like you have your village.
Yeah.
I had a village of people who kept me focused, and they let me cry when I needed to cry. They let me be upset when I was upset. They
Mm-hmm.
left me alone when I wanted to be by myself. But and then I found out laughter was good for me too. So I would turn on something sometimes that would make me laugh. And one of the comedians is Sinbad. So I would pull that up and I would just watch it and just laugh till I cried. I just would be laughing because I needed that laughter.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I did things that was going to keep me focused. But I think my main thing was, my whole thing was, I want a heart that forgives, and I want to forgive quickly. Just
Mm.
let me let it go.
Yes.
and
Yes.
and God did that for me.
Yeah, and that is important. And we've had a couple of shows on since we came to this new format to help people deal with, hurt and brokenness and healing, and how to heal, how to get past those things that are traumatizing to us. You didn't realize you were coming on with a story of strength, but that's exactly what it is, and all of us have these stories within our journey. May not look at them that way, we may not perceive them to be that, but the fact of the matter is that when we are able to get past in love with a heart to forgive, and those are the things that help build us to be able to go through the process of whatever the journey happens to be, so that we can get to that thing that God destined us to do. We talk
Yes.
about, He knew me before I was in my mother's womb. We talk about what we are predestined to do. We talk about before the foundation of the world. God knew
Yes.
me. He knew the end from the beginning, and He's put everything in place. He's aligning us all of the time. Lord, let me stop talking. But but I see so many people not fulfill what they were placed in the earth to fulfill, because they do get sidetracked, or they do get hurt, or something will happen that just kind of stops them in their tracks. And I am so glad that you were persistent, that you trusted in the Lord, that you knew that that was not your stopping place,
Right.
that was still a part of your journey. Talk to talk a little bit about destiny, Angie. Do you feel, are there certain things that you may have done coming up, or that you have had experience coming up, that put you in a posture of saying, this is not my destiny, that's my destiny over there?
Hmm. I well, with growing up and everything, when I was back in like high school, I would I was thinking, man, I'm gonna operate in the field of being a counselor or be or psychology or psychologist or something because everybody would come to me to talk to me to tell me what their issues were, and I was the one that was trying to help them out and all this. So I was thinking along that lines, and then I was like, well, is that really where I'm supposed to be?
Mm-hmm.
And then different people would say, well, I think because they didn't know that I talk a lot, they was like, oh, well, you wouldn't be good for this because you would have to speak. And I was like, well, you don't know me because I do speak. I do speak, and do different things. But they always deemed me to be the quiet one. So
Mm-hmm.
they didn't know those things, and they would try to put me like in positions of where they saw the outward appearance of who I was. And they really didn't get to know who I was.
Mm-hmm.
But when I would pick up a book, or I would always, when I finished my books and stuff, that was something that I always wanted. I saw that like when I was little, I would read a book and I was like, man, it would be so great to be able to write a book. And I was thinking of that when I was really young because I love books and I would get engulfed in a book so much so that somebody would be yelling at me and I didn't hear them because I was like in the book. And they was like, didn't you hear? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. But and then my mom sometimes she would send me outside to play because she was like, you need to get up and go outside and play. But I was in a book all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But and I have always loved books. And I was like I was saying with the destiny of it all, it just seems like a lot of people they kind of look at us from the outward appearance,
Mm-hmm.
but it took me getting to know who Jesus is and getting to know who God is, because when I get to know who He is, then I find out who I am.
Mm.
And
That's
in the
good.
midst of that, I found out who I was, and I was like, I am a talker. I can stand up and speak and do these different things because that was in me. I would see myself doing it all the time in my head. But then I would have people say, well, no, that's you. You should do something else because you're quiet and you're there, you're on that quiet thing. So you wouldn't be able to stand up in front of people. And then when they would see me stand up and teach, or they would see me stand up and pray or do whatever, they was like, I can't believe they, because one person told me they was like, I had to open my eyes during prayer to see if that was you. And I was like, why?
Wow.
Because they thought that I was just this quiet person that I didn't say. And I was like, I if I don't have anything to say, I could keep my mouth closed. But when it comes to certain things, yes, I do talk. It's like
But you know what that is? That is a lesson for all of us because we will sometimes miss the jewels. We will miss the gems. We will miss the golden nuggets that people have because we have made a decision in who they are instead of
right.
experiencing who they are and what they can bring to our lives. So I think that the two things that were so important that you just said was getting to know God, and
Yes.
through getting to know God, getting to know who you are. Because when you know who you are and you know the doors that He is opening to be what He's called you to be, there is a confidence that comes with
Yes.
that. And just like you were saying, it's like, and many of you on the line can attest to what I'm saying. It's like being in the zone. It's
Yes.
about being in the zone, and you get in that zone, and sometimes it's like reading that book and being so immersed in that book that you don't hear somebody when they're calling you. And when you get
Right.
in that zone, when you know you're in that zone, when you're in that zone of teaching, when you're in that zone of writing, when you're in that zone of speaking, there is everything else, everything else goes away except for the purpose for which you are
Yes.
standing there doing whatever it is you happen to do, whether it is acting, whether it is, because as quiet as I was and at one point, not that way now, but at one point, when I wasn't the hi, my name is person, and I was in theater, I enjoyed it so much because I disappeared, because I wasn't confident in who I was and whose I was. So when I got on the stage, I wasn't Andrea Hines anymore. I was whoever and whatever that
Okay.
character to be. So that's
Yes.
what helped me to do it. And gradually, as God worked with me and molded me and changed me and shifted me, and the more I trusted Him and came to know Him and understand that He's not designing anything to bring me harm.
Right.
And I was able to, go forward and go forward with a degree of confidence. So I am very, very excited for you, Angie. I'm very
Thank you.
excited about this new. And we were saying, well, what do we call this? Is this a shift? Is this a turn? Is this a It was a transformation, and I said, whatever it is, whatever name that you give it, I am excited for you. I'm excited for those who will get the benefit and become a part of your whole and beautiful nation on Friday
Yes.
nights. And be able to see what is a part of that journey. Because one thing I know, Angie, whether it is magazine, whether it is um, TV or radio or whatever other platform God gives you, it has always been in your heart to encourage people to be their best self.
Yes.
Um, that was before, living your best life and living life
Yes.
before any of that became mantra, before any of that became words that we spoke. You had always had that in you. And it's going to come out. It is going to come through in your broadcasting. And I wanted to share something with you that you hadn't seen. The numbers were coming in on your program, and I am happy to say that you have listeners in Jamaica, in Canada,
Wow.
in Spain, in Ghana, in Kenya, in France, and Germany, where you lived for a while, in
Yes.
India, in Pakistan, and in the Philippines.
Wow.
So
Wow.
you go, Miss Whole and Beautiful. You and your nation are rocking it out. I tell you what, and I am just so very happy for you. So happy for you. I
Wow.
know that you're going to continue to expand and continue to grow. And you guys, look, you are seeing greatness here. So I tell you what, just send up some hearts if you can send some hearts. Put some clapping hands together. You all know how to do all this stuff in these emojis. I don't know how to do it, but but just encourage Angie, encourage her, and tune in to her program. She has a great program, and as you can see, she's got something to say. She has something to say, and it's some things that you want to hear and you want to listen to. And Angie, our time is almost up. There, Bernice
Wow.
found those hands. Yay! Thanks.
Hey.
Angie, is there anything that you want to leave our listeners with tonight as we have talked about these 4Ds? We've talked about delays and destiny and dreams and life after divorce and all that good stuff. But is there something in particular, maybe a scripture you want to leave, whatever it is? What is it that you would like to leave with our listeners before we tune off?
I would tell them to always to hope and to believe in hope. Um in the word it tells us that hope deferred makes the heart sick. So don't let your hope get deferred. You got to stay focused and to
Mhm.
never give up. Never give up. It's like when I talked about hope with a friend this week, and she was talking about it meant to bear up under. The Greek word means to bear up under, and you bear up under it and you walk it out until faith comes. And when that faith comes, faith takes over, and
Mm,
then you begin to walk in it. And that's what we need to do. We need to have the faith that what God said is going to happen. What you that dream that you have in your heart, it will happen. You just got to keep pressing and keep moving forward. Don't let these things around you block your vision that's in front of you. And I
Mm,
was like, one thing that I do know is I do not know retreat. I only know charge. And that is to go forward.
Now, oh gosh, now you all see where those Selah moments come from on Friday night. I like that. I don't know retreat. I only know charge. Hallelujah. Angie, thank you. Thank you so much for being with me here tonight on When Life Speaks. Again, I say we wish you nothing but the best. We'll be praying for you, and we know the great and wonderful things are going to happen as you charge into this next phase of your journey. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. I appreciate you so much. Love you so much.
I love you too, lady. Everybody, we will be right back here next week on When Life Speaks, and we'll be here at 7 p.m. Want you to come back. Want you to turn down the volume of life for just a little while so that when life speaks, you'll speak life. Good night, everybody.